The following is a conversation with Coldie, an artist, a pioneer, and a photographer whose work exists at the fascinating intersection of vintage technology and the digital frontier. For decades, artists have sought to capture a moment in time. But what does that mean to capture a moment in a dimension that the world isn't quite ready to see? To have a vision so clear that you're willing to wait years or even decades for technology to catch up. Coldie is one of the world's foremost stereoscopic artists, a craft that creates the illusion of 3D depth from two-dimensional images. His journey into this niche world began with his childhood viewmasters and led him to a stereo club that he met in the basement of a church, where the torch of what was considered a dying art was passed to him. With a janky, self-made 3D camera and a fanzine he invented just to get a press pass, he became the 3D photographer for Coachella, shooting legendary bands like Red Hot Chili Peppers and the Flaming Lips. All of his work was driven by a single mantra he would repeat to himself. Someday, these photos will be able to be seen in full color digital 3D. He knew that virtual reality would one day make his vision possible. And when that day finally came, the emotional culmination of his conviction brought him to tears. In 2017, he discovered crypto and became one of the original artists in the NFT space, minting his work on early platforms like Rare Art Labs with the goal of creating cultural artifacts of a revolution in the making. This conversation is a deep dive into the mind of a creator who thrives in chaos, who is driven by an insatiable curiosity, and who lives by a powerful philosophy: if you're not scaring yourself with your art, you're not going anywhere. And now, it is my great honor to present my conversation with Coldie.
I'm doing pretty well.
I love
Is it
that
Friday?
shirt. I love that shirt.
Thank you.
That's great. So GM, brother, how you been, man?
Been good. I've been good. Yeah, just cranking away and you know, making all kinds of fun stuff. And yeah, just it's never a dull day in crypto.
Yeah, no kidding, man. It's a roller coaster, right?
God, every single day,
Every day's a journey.
every day. Yeah, you never know what interesting things like punk strategy, or you just never really know what's going to come out or be a thing. It's pretty crazy.
It's so wild how fast paced this space moves. You wake up one morning and it's just a completely different narrative.
Yeah.
It's fun though.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah, I love
So,
the chaos.
yeah, I love the chaos, and I think about like life always has different type of work chaos, and back in the day it was chaos of having a cubicle job doing other people's shitty ideas, and
Yep.
yeah, just if they're happy, then I'm happy, and we keep the train going, and then when I think to where I'm at now, fortunately I'm, self-employed now. Still the same amount of chaos, it's just my own. At least I can, you know, be the I'm doing the ship instead of someone else's ship. So, um
Yeah. What did you do before art, before you were self-employed?
I started out, I got my degree in fine art and graphic design. So, I went into, started off as a, production designer, and then graphic designer and art director, and I kind of kept going up that realm of things. And at a certain point, I just started freelancing. So I started, kind of, I always kind of look at the balance of like my creative time, and it used to be 100% somebody else calling shots. And then over time, I just slowly, like 5% at a time, just try to start carving out, you know, time for myself, or, even freelance at that point was something different than, the day-to-day job, and just kept trying to rebalance that. And, you know, I, I was always pretty, maybe overly, uh, uh, not overly risky, but I was always taking chances with like jobs and opportunities, and it kind of threw me into the fire, and I guess just got me used to um, looking ahead at opportunities and also taking chances and risks. And it's all worked out, and I guess that kind of helped me get into crypto and NFT stuff. It wasn't too far out of the norm of crazy shit I was doing, so why not try
Yeah.
that.
When did you discover like crypto?
um I like the earliest was my younger cousin was going to MIT, and he was a robotics guy, and really, really great guy, extremely nerdy. Like two peas in a pod. He was into robots and I was into pixels. And I was asking, what's college like? What's MIT like? And I was expecting like, oh, you know, crazy parties and whatever, whatever. And the thing that he brought up was mining Bitcoin in their dorm room. And at that point, I really hadn't even really heard of it, and it definitely registered, but it went over my head. It was obviously extremely cheap back then, and it planted a seed. And it took me a couple more years. I think it was like 2017 when I found it like kind of again, and that was through podcasts. I was just trying to figure out like what is money, what is finance. I went to art school. I'd never had any like finance background. So just, started learning about that, and precious metals was interesting. It's like, oh, okay, that's like hard money. There's something like intrinsically backing this way better than fiat currency, right? So it's kind of like checking some of those boxes. And then someone came on, and they had a segment about Bitcoin and crypto, and it clicked at that point. I was like, oh shit, okay, like this, I totally get behind this. And that's what initially, I guess, orange pilled me. And then, you know, being like a rallying force, I'm like, this is cool. More people need to know about this. What can I do to, spread the word? And I typed in blockchain art in Google just to see like what could I do art wise, and there was like very little things, like CryptoPunks and um, Crypto Kitties was big at the time, and the site that I found that I could put my art on was called Rare Art Labs, and it was ERC20 tokens, and you know I looked at it like a dating site, like why not freaking throw some of my stuff up there like a portfolio, and at least I can share my stuff 24/7 around the world, and let's go for it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What was your first mint? Like, did you just kind of dive in immediately and just mint something? Did you kind of like take some time to think about it? What was your thought process on it?
Yeah, at the time I had been my 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 focus has always been on stereoscopics and 3D art, like kind of the illusion of fooling the eye.
Hmm.
And I'd been making stuff that was a lot of it was like kind of UFO based, and like actually this picture up there is kind of like the scene I was in. I was doing these 3D artworks where you put glasses on, and the UFOs pop off the screen. And it was just like thrilling to me to like make these pieces. So I initially had a couple of those, and I had just started doing my two first like crypto art pieces. One of them is called "The Day We've All Been Waiting For." This is the print of that. So I made
That's
that was
rad.
a 2017. That was my very first crypto piece,
Okay.
and then I did a Vitalik Buterin portrait all at that same time. So I was kind of like cutting my teeth on memetics and Um, even initially, I was looking at this as um, a personal scrapbook, but also scrapbooks can be, redigested by anybody in many different ways. So I was thinking, like, while we're all in this weird space, it's cool to collect things that you can relate to and have a time and a place. So that kind
Yeah.
of like kind of honed, like kind of focused my mind a little bit because I'm, extremely ADD all over the place. Um, it just helped me have some type of a vein to go down.
And have you always done this type of like 3D stereotopic art, or is there anything before this? Or is this kind of like always
Um,
been the avenue that you've taken?
you know, as I was like again rebalancing my creative time,
Yeah.
I was living in LA and I worked for LA Weekly, which is like their big alternative paper.
Yeah, yeah, I've
And
heard of it.
yeah, so I had a great job. Like I was doing covers for them and had great access to culture and all these things. And through that, I found the LA Stereo Club. Um, and I went to one of their meetings. It was in the basement of a church.
What year was this?
What year?
Yeah.
2007.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, right around 2007 or so. I joined this club, and I was 22 or something at the time.
You said it was in a basement of a church?
Yeah, it was like the weirdest thing ever. Is and like it was a free meeting. I just showed up one day. I was like, let's see what's gonna happen.
I feel like the vibes must have been really interesting in 2007, this basement in a church talking about stereos.
Oh, it was wacky, dude. Like, and the thing was, the average age of the club um at the time was, I would say, like mid 50s or up.
Okay.
This is an older person's niche. And so I'd walk in there, I'm like at least half of all these people's ages.
Yeah, you're like
And
a kid.
they were like kind of shocked at first. They're like, I sat there in the back a couple times just taking it in, like, what the hell is this whole thing?
Yeah, they're like, what's this nerdy kid doing here?
Yeah, they're like, wow, like, what brought you here? and and I didn't really know, I just showed up one day, and then I started talking to some people and showed them the stuff I was making, and it was just totally different because primarily what these people did, so they would have stereo cameras. Do you know, like, the double lens cameras, the old realist? Let me grab them. A little show and tell.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Real
Okay.
quick, I just noticed the Gene Wilder
Oh
in the
yes,
corner.
yeah,
That's amazing.
dude. Yeah, he's kind of the um, spirit animal around here.
I love that. Absolute legend.
Oh yeah, that movie. I definitely need to watch that like at least once a year, just to I've always kind of seen seen Charlie in myself,
Yeah.
where like just a good-hearted kid who's just got lucky one day and went for an adventure. And so that whole movie is just, every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, it's a perfect movie, and it's like 120 minutes or something. It's like very very short.
No, it's a great movie. All you know the story on like Gene Wilder's house, like it's just like a complete like maze, I guess, like a circus almost. There's doorways that lead to nowhere.
Really? No, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, there's a so his house, I think Elon Musk actually owns it, and it's like so he sold all his homes, but he wasn't, I guess, willing to sell Gene Wilder's house because this thing is just a complete like circus inside. You have to look into it.
Whoa,
Like yeah, just doorways that go to nowhere, like weird shit. It's interesting.
that's cool. I'll look that. Did
Yeah.
that happen after Wonka?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. I believe like after he made some money off of that, he put it into this house.
That's so sick. That's
It's
cool.
pretty ridiculous,
That's cool. Yeah, I guess that would be all of our dreams, is to make a Wonka house.
right? Just a wonky house. So let's see these cameras.
Yeah. Okay. So this is called a stereo realist camera, and it has two lenses on here, and then this is like just a viewfinder basically,
Okay.
and so it shoots two pictures, like your eyes create stereoscopic depth. So primarily people were all shooting using this camera, and they would have these old slide film, as you know, like just super rich, beautiful tones. And um they were just it was so weird. They would just show their photos that they had for freaking 20, 30 years. Some of them landscapes, some of them architecture, and some of them like nudes, like male and female nudes, equal opportunity.
Yeah.
And it all in the basement of this church, right? So like, they get into these like avant-garde themes, or I was like, wow, like this is really weird, but I'm here for
All
it.
right. Yeah, yeah, all right.
We're gonna look at a bunch of naked people now. Like, let's do that. It looks beautiful in 3D. Everything in 3D is fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
So I was there for a couple years, and started to get to know more and more people, and I started having these like heart to hearts with these guys. They're like pushing 60. Some of them like even at the time like 75, 80 years old. And I got to be close with one guy's name was Ray Zone, and he's the king of 3D comic books. He produced like 300 3D comic books. He's the man. Me and Ray really hit it off. And I asked Ray, I was like, hey man, like, I'm really into graphic design and photography. I'd love to, pick your brain, if you'd be open to like mentoring me and kind of giving me, some tips. And he's like, really? Like, okay, so I went to his studio, and he showed me these like tricks of the trade. And he said, he's like, this is like a dying art, and you have so much interest in it, and like I see your creativity. Like basically I want to pass the torch of these things I've picked up along the years. And so I learned a lot from Ray. I learned a lot from these photographers. So I soaked in like hundreds of years of cumulative knowledge, and just as like a brain dump to somebody who wanted to carry it forward. So everything I do, I take extremely seriously, because I think probably most of these people are now passed away now. And, it's just a little thing I can do to honor what they gave to me, and just my intense love for this. It's just, that's always been the focus.
It's such a rare art form, I feel like. I mean, this is not a common uh what drove you, do you think, like to not to your style, but specifically to this art form? Like, was it a mix of environment growing up? Was it just, your love for technical, projects? What was this? Because I feel like to fall into this category, like I'll see it daily where a kid will walk up, to a window. Like I'll go to jujitsu daily and take my daughter, and I'll see kids walk up to the window and their moms will be like, "You should try this out," and they'll go like, "Yeah, maybe one day." And I think to myself, this could have been a life-changing moment right now for this kid.
Yeah.
Literally a life-changing moment had he had said yes. So what was it about this that made you say, "This is it"?
Yeah. The So I always think about like, oh, I think the same thing. How the fuck did I get into this one? And
Yeah. Yeah, it's
a
wild.
was so I brought a couple other things that'll tie in perfectly. So one of the very first things that I had was a Viewmaster.
Yep.
Um and Viewmasters are stereoscopic images. And as a kid, I had they have reels for people who don't know. So these are the reels. And there's which one is this? Oh, this is the one. Okay, this is perfect.
It
So
blows my mind that some people still that kids these days wouldn't know what that is because like we grew up with those.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And so you'd have a whole, 20, 10, 20 reels, whatever. You could just pick these up at the store, and it had anything from Disney to, landscapes, anything really. Like
Yep.
same thing these guys were shooting on their old cameras. So there, I had a set of those, and that was like my little zone out creative time as a little kid. And I remember there was this Batman from the 60s, like Adam West Batman. Do you know that series of Batman?
Course.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
of course.
Adam West Batman stereo reels happened to be one of the ones that I got as a kid. And I looked at that thing a lot. And the reason I know it was after I kind of did this deep dive into myself, like we're talking about, like, how did this start? I focused on that Batman one. I'm like, I can see it in my head because I've flipped through the 7 pictures so many damn times. I went on eBay and I typed in Batman Viewmaster, and there was one card available. And I just bought it. I was like, I need to have some more Batman in my life. And there was all kinds of different Batmans that came out. I got the card and I stuck it, and it had like the casing and everything. It's like the original packaging.
Oh,
And
that's so cool.
it all looked very familiar. I was like, oh shit. Like I all amped up inside. I was like, I wonder if this is the one, right?
Yeah.
And it was. I
Oh my
snapped it
god.
in, and I'll tell you, my fucking brain melted right then
I
because I went
bet.
to being 5 years old, and and I shit you not, I knew what was coming next because of the muscle memory of seeing them in order every time.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my god. Like, even now, like, let's see one of them. It's like, oh, I'm looking at Adam West, so Batman and Robin in the Batmobile, in the Batcave. It's it's
That's
so
so
damn
badass.
really, really nuts, right? It's
Yeah,
just
takes you back.
it took me back. So, like, every time I look at that card, I'm back to being 5 years old, and it's like the happy spot, and it's 3D, and I would have to say the Viewmasters were a big part of it. The other one, have you ever seen these before?
I have never seen those.
Okay. So, it's all based on the same technology, right? 2 images, and this is your Viewmaster, basically, right?
Okay.
And inside of it, you look through this kind of prism that merges the images, and these were really popular in, like, you know early 1900s,
Okay.
from 1800 until like 1950 or something. These were the jam. Like, everyone had these.
And that makes it three-dimensional by looking through that?
Yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, and you can find these at antique shops and stuff like that. They're actually pretty hard to get, but they're around. And for some reason, my grandparents had it, and they were getting rid of their stuff, and my parents just ran it like, "We'll take that thing." It was just like something for the kids to look at. Yeah, we'll take it. So I had these cards as well. So I couldn't tell you how or why these things came into my life, but from a very early age, I was in it, and I was studying depth. I could tell when a card didn't work very well. I could, the ones that hit just right, I'd look at it like, why is the 3D so good on this? Oh, it's because they're in the foreground. And I was learning basically parallax and depth conversions just as a kid, like, just because I was bored. And it was never a focus again until, I mean, after, when I went to that 3D club, I guess it all just like all came flooding back real fast. And that was it. That was just like, yeah, that was my jam.
Dude, that's fascinating. So, do you think there was I mean, when you got involved in this, like, was there any encouragement from, like, family or friends or, like I mean, it just seems like such a niche, um, form of art, and I feel like when you picked it up, like, there had to have been someone who was like, "Yeah, you should chase this or you should do this," because it feels like that would be a really hard position to take on this art form that, I mean, it's not really used anymore. I mean, you don't see it. It seems, like it's just, I haven't seen a viewfinder, like a kid's viewfinder for kids, and God, I forgot about him. I mean, so was there some type of encouragement that was just like, yeah, man, this is something you should do, other than the mentors that you were meeting inside these meetings?
To be quite honest, no, not really.
Yeah,
Uh,
I feel like there wouldn't be.
no, like, my family was like, that's really weird and cool. Like, like, they supported me, but they're like, I don't even know. But if you're happy and that's keeping you out of trouble, like, keep doing
Right.
it, right? Um, and I'm thinking back, like I started doing lenticulars early on.
I'm gonna sound like an idiot. What are venticulars?
Let me show you. Um, this is not one of my first ones. I'd have to dig for a second, so I won't put you through that. But a lenticular
Oh,
is a
cool.
so so basically a lenticular is a print that takes these multiple view angles and merges them together on a print, right? So this is a 3D light painting I had done with one of my 3D mentors actually.
Is
Um,
there like an overlay on that to create that 3D effect?
yeah, so there's you basically it's printed interlaced. So there's like little slits of each picture and then they're printed like that and then you put a plastic lens on top of it and when everything's aligned perfectly, it'll merge all those different views um, into 3D. So it's definitely like a specialty process of printing.
Well, you see
So
that I feel like it's a common thing that you actually do see, but I never honestly thought about who creates those. How do you
yeah,
know how are those made? Where did you find the tools like the cameras and stuff like that? Or did you just during these meetings start picking up on it?
yeah, a lot of it was DIY. Um, I would build. I don't have it. I don't have it right here. I built I took two like point and shoot digital cameras
Okay.
and I mounted them side by side. And you'd have to like hack the firmware and all this like super nerdy stuff. I learned it from these dudes at the meetings. And I built my first 3D camera. And very soon after that, I I had done a 3D poster for LA Weekly. Here, let me just show you. We're gonna do some show and tell here.
Yeah, let's just do a show and tell, man.
So I with Ray Zone, the guy, the mentor, he helped me to produce this, which is a 3D poster.
It's
Uh,
so cool.
yeah, thank you. And with the 3D glasses, you know, the UFO pops out, the building's got depth, the whole
Yeah.
thing.
And this was
And
for LA Weekly.
that was for LA Weekly, yeah. And I talked them into this whole thing. I was like, hey, you know, my boss, who I'm still really good friends with, I was like, hey, I got this like crazy idea. Um, and if you guys are down with it, I want to do a 3D campaign. You know, 3D inserts for the newspaper, 3D flyer, 3D posters. And I just like went for it because, like, why not? And it worked out in a crazy, crazy way that we found somebody to trade ad space in the newspaper in exchange for printing like 100,000 3D flyers. It was insane.
Wow. Yeah.
It was nuts. Like, that
Yeah.
should not have happened, but it did. Right. So, um, you know, the week before the concert, there's 100,000 distribution at the time. So these flyers were in every single paper that went out to LA, and people had the flyers. The insert that was in the newspaper was all 3D. It was like, oh, it was so good. And um, actually, at the festival, they had these posters just like wallpapering the back for like their merch booth for LA Weekly, just because we had a shit ton of posters. And my boss calls me like mid show. She's like, "You got to get down here like right now." I was like, "Oh no, what's happening? Like, is there a problem?"
We're blowing up.
Yeah, she's like, "Well, everyone ransacked the merch booth and ripped all the posters off the wall as soon as they were gone,
Oh my
and
God.
there's nothing left." So I was like, I ran down there, and it was like just corners of posters. Like, it was literally everything was gone. I remember there was a girl sitting on the ground and she's like, "Yeah, I'm tripping on mushrooms right now." And like, this is literally like the coolest thing I've ever looked at in my life. And I was like, wow, like, I guess I
Yes.
did it. I guess,
I did it.
I,
Mom, I made it.
and in another weird way, that was like a response back to the art. That was like, oh, it's not just me who thinks this shit is like interesting. Like these people liked it too. Like cool,
Yeah.
right? So, um, leading off of that, the promoters of this festival are Golden Voice, and Golden Voice does Coachella.
Oh my
So
God.
we were riding hot with these people. Like things just went really well with them. Coachella was coming up in the when was this? Like August. It was like coming up, right?
What year was this?
This was 2008.
Okay.
It was 2008. So I went from learning in 2006 to a campaign in 2008. So I was pretty
Yeah, I was
stoked.
about to say that was fast.
Yeah. And I had my 3D camera and I was showing my boss. So I was like, hey, I have this camera and I just
That you
found
built.
I
The one that
built.
you built.
Yeah. I wish it was closer, but I'd show you. But um, I pitched Coachella. I was like, hey guys, um, I would love to shoot 3D concert pictures of at Coachella. Like, can I get a photo pass? Like a 2 second,
Can I get a photo pass?
yeah, a 2 second request, and I had nothing to lose, and this campaign had gone well. I'd kind of proved myself to them in whatever respect, and they're like, sure. I like, oh, okay. I'd never shot concert photography before that. So
Did you say you had, or you just kind of went with it?
no, I mean, no, not really.
Yeah, yeah. You
I
just
mean,
kind of just went with it, just like, hey, hire me.
I mean, I'd been to thousands of concerts and like
Yeah.
I'd been in the front row so many times and I'd seen the photographers come in. And I was like, I want to do that. Like, so it was kind of just like, what do I have to do to get over the rail?
The
To
confidence, man. I
Yeah,
love it.
and it freaking worked.
Yeah.
So I shot Coachella for 2 years. And I was the official. It was so funny. I was the official 3D photographer of Coachella.
Which is
Um,
like unheard of.
yeah, it's like it's not even a job title, right?
Yeah. Like people must come up to you and say, what's a 3D photographer?
Yeah, yeah. And while I was in the pit at Coachella, I call it lens envy because I was just trying to make sure my camera was going to work. Like this thing was janky. It was like Frankenstein. Literally wires everywhere. I had a soldering iron in my
Oh my God.
frame because wires would break loose. It was not good, like very, very delicate. And I'd be like frantically changing. It had AA batteries in it. It was a shit show.
This is amazing.
Yeah. So I'm in the pit, like sweating bricks, hoping I'm going to be able to shoot the rest of the day because my camera's janky. And you got these, AP guys and Getty or whoever they were at the
Yeah, you
time.
got all these pros with pro
They got
cameras,
freaking huge
giant
lenses.
lenses. Yeah, 50
Yeah,
grand worth of gear.
yeah, yeah. And here I am with my little 2 point and shoots. And I was
Oh my
getting a lot
God.
of shade from these guys, right? And
Yeah. They're probably like, what is this fan doing in here?
exactly, exactly.
Right.
And like 2 out of 50 guys would be like, and we'd see each other. You see each other in the pit, right? You're going stage to stage. So after a
Oh
couple
yeah.
times, they're like,
Oh,
what are
I
you
know the
doing?
pit.
You know
Yeah.
the pit, yeah.
Yeah.
And the pit's, its own magic wave of jumping up and surging around so everyone can get their shot. Like there's a cadence to the pit.
Totally. It's an
So
ego fest.
it totally is. But
Yep.
the cool thing is that with my 3D camera, it only works at certain depth levels. I can't shoot a photo of this right up close because it's like the math of it. They have to converge within a range. So I can't shoot anything closer than like 8 feet away. So I was more on the side of the cluster. They're all in there trying to get the guys shredding up close. I'm more atmospheric.
You're getting
Want
the scene.
I want the scene. If I can get the stage with depth, then it's all building in the layers. So I'm looking at this scene way different than everyone else,
Totally.
which was great because I could go chill on the side, get these awesome perspectives down the stage. I was happy as a clam, and these guys were like, a couple of them were interested, and I didn't want to get anybody excited about 3D concert photography. Like, I'm not about to want a bunch of competition or, like, I'm
You're
just
not
here
there
to,
to preach the good word.
yeah. And I was just like, and it was true. I'm like, this is really fucking hard what I'm doing. Like, I would not wish this on my enemy, right? Like, and because it's true. Like when you shoot, like my fail rate of 3D photos, especially like at that point, was probably like 70%.
Wow. Okay.
Like, so you're shooting a lot of volume, hoping to get 10 good shots.
Yeah, I was about to say like 3 out of 10 is going to be good.
Yeah. Cause they're either not both in focus or my cameras got moved a little bit.
Mhm.
So like if they're not straight, if one of them's cockeyed, it's all worthless.
So not only are you playing against the skill, like technical background of it, but you're also having to play, you have to have a good shot.
Yeah. Oh
It
yeah.
has to be a decent shot
Yeah.
and it has to be in focus.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So like
that's hell. That's hell.
it's literally hell. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard, man. That's
And
fun
it
though. That sounds like so much
oh,
fun.
it's the most thrilling thing ever. I shot my friend's band a while before that just because I needed to get some, like there's a lot of technical problems, right? Um, one of those being like low light. If you don't have a DSLR and you can't crank up the ISO and all the tricks, like the sensors on these things are not that good. So
Yeah.
um the first night when the light went down and I really realized what I was doing, you can't use the flash. None of that's gonna work. You can't. Like you can only use flash. And so I got into like long exposure tilts. I was getting like I have this amazing shot of Hot Chip. Do you know who Hot Chip is? They're
I
like
don't, but I'm gonna look it up real quick.
UK kind of like 2010 like
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
dance
That's
rock.
great.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're a rap. Like and Hot Chip was at the peak of Hot Chip. And the lights were so like dark, I had to figure out a way to keep shooting photos. So I was doing long exposure where I was just moving the camera and like doing radial things
Yeah.
and got some like probably my best photos from that because I had to like work within the bounds of what I could do. Um, it was just a big FAFO session for like 3 days. And the, actually the middle or beginning of the third day, my camera broke. It
Oh
just
my God.
freaking, I couldn't solder it back together. It was done.
Yeah.
It was done.
You
So
pushed it.
I pushed it and like, I guess I got to enjoy Coachella a little bit more. Um, in a sense, I got to be a spectator.
Yeah, you
Uh,
got to actually enjoy the moment instead of capturing it.
yeah. And,
I get
um,
that.
and even now, I mean, I haven't shot a show in a little bit. Um, but every time I do, the intensity is so palpable in the pit because you have the band giving this energy out, and then you have the crowd hopefully matching that energy in, and there's no energy in the middle, right? So like all this energy is hitting you because and you're not a part of this or that. You're just in it. And I just get like sensory overload. And I've learned that like sometimes I just need to put my camera down for 20 seconds and fucking headbang and like balance it all out and then go back in. Cause if it's not, it feels you've been in the pits. It's just a weird space to operate in. So
It's a
uh,
weird vibe. Everybody's rushing to get the same shot. It's a really weird vibe, and most of these guys have been in that pit. It's like they're like the residents of the pit, and you're like the intern that just shows up.
yep, yep.
I totally get that. And it's funny because you were saying like you capture the scene. So when I approached music photography and got hired to do some gigs, like I got hired to like tour around with Modest Yahoo for a little bit
Oh, sweet.
and like,
Yeah.
yeah, and like take photos of their band. And that was like where I kind of like started to discover like my style of it, where I can't shoot close up. I don't even have close up lenses. All of mine, are wide angle. I do landscape. So I'm like, how can I make this work for me? I'm going to get the landscape of the scene, the energy of the room and capture. And when ended up like, showing them like the musicians or, their managers are like, no one's ever delivered this type of stuff. Like
Cool.
they're always, the close up guitarist and the rocking out, but it's like, this shows the room. This shows how happy this is what we can use in promotional billboards.
Cool.
So like, yeah, like I totally get what you're saying. It's like when you approach something as a different angle or different viewpoint, than the other photographers or other artists that are there, you might come out with something just so unique and spectacular that you might even, shock yourself. And it might even take you down a different road than you ever expected.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did
Absolutely
you
that.
keep doing it too? Like, did you keep sticking up with the music photography after
Yeah,
Coachella?
yeah, yes. I mean, at that time, I had very little commitments in life, no wife or kid or,
Yeah.
things to take care of. So I had a run of it was what that was 2009 up through like 2018.
And this is when the
Working.
economy, by the way, was shit. Like everything had been in 2008, everything fell apart.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
like the
didn't.
world fell apart.
Yeah,
So
I didn't.
the fact that you're doing art during this is so crazy, man, because it's like the whole world fell apart. Like the economy crashed, we were in a recession, and you're like, yo, I'm going to be unemployed and take photos.
You know what? When everything crashed, I didn't know about it for like a week, and I was living in LA and just like I was broke as shit. Like I was just
Yeah.
hoping to not be stoned when I went to work or maybe smoke weed at lunch. I was just like
Right.
alive. And I remember talking to somebody and they're like, something came up about, oh man, hope things are gonna be okay. And I was like, about what?
You're like, what are you talking about? Do we not get weed this week?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's kind of dry,
is
right?
is Cali running out of bud?
Yeah. And like, I've never seen a peer look at me with such like, what? Like, really, dude? I'm like, oh. They're like, you should look at your like something, your investments. I'm like, I don't have any
You're like,
investments.
I don't have a stock portfolio.
Look at what? Like, we didn't go up. Um,
Yeah, weed's not costing me more.
it's been fine. It's been actually going down. We're good.
Yeah, my rent actually went down, so I'm good.
So, yeah, I just didn't know anything about that stuff. So it was kind of easy to not,
Yeah,
not.
easy to navigate that. So you're in 2009. So you're still doing music photography. Do you get any bands? Like, what's the next gig? What's happening?
Yeah. So it was, um, I did Coachella 2 years in a row, and there wasn't a lot between that. I think I did a couple friends shows. It hadn't like gotten like into like this like vision, more than like a really really cool opportunity.
Yeah,
Um, but then once I had this body of work after 2 years, then I was able to pitch bands with more than 3 days of photos. I needed some body of work.
yeah. You need a portfolio.
Yeah, yeah. And at that point, like my success level was way better in 2010 than it was in 2009. So I had some really good shots, really good bands. Um, and I just started pitching bands that I liked. I'm not going to shoot bands I don't like, because
Right.
what am I even doing, right?
What's the point of this? Right.
Yeah. So I remember one of the very first bands was Incubus,
Oh my God, legend.
Legends. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so good.
I had actually just moved out of LA back up to Northern California, and they were playing near where I lived, and which is rare because usually these bands don't even come to our town.
Where in
And
NorCal?
they were playing in Sacramento.
Okay.
Yeah. So I it was my first my first you'll appreciate this. So when you go to like a publicist to get a photo pass, or you go through whatever the label or publicist,
Yep.
whoever can work your way in to get a pass. Um, I quickly realized that you needed to have a reason to be there, right? You're not just really letting anybody in to shoot a big band. So I invented my own 3D magazine, and it was called Stereo Man 3D Magazine. And I was everything. I was a publisher, I was the photographer, I was everything, but I didn't tell them.
Brilliant.
I said, here, let me see if I think I have one around here. Okay. So this is the inaugural Stereo Man 3D magazine.
It's a zine.
The zine, it's a true zine,
That's a real zine, man.
real zine.
Oh my
So
God.
I'm happy I still have a couple of these. But these were just like photos from Coachella, you know, come with
Yeah.
the come with 3D glasses. So I would write these publicists and saying, hey, I'm on assignment with 3D Stereo Man magazine, and they asked me to shoot this concert, so here I am. Um, and and
Brilliant.
they're like, well, what's your viewership? I said, well, let me put it this way. I have a lot. I have people who love my photos, but the real value of these are in the future. So if you want to get these cool photos, happy to shoot them. I'll send them to you, check them out. But in the future, as I keep going, that's where it's going to be. So you're not getting hits right now. You're going to get hits later. And I was actually surprised how well that worked out. I got plenty of no's, but actually the most of the bands that I really wanted to, um, I got access to. And a lot of the times I just said, hey, if somebody cancels, you can literally give me like 2 hours warning. If there's only a certain amount of spots and something opens up, I'm really easygoing. So sometimes that would happen where it's like the day before, they're like, hey, we got a spot. I'm like, I'm there. I'll drive 3 hours of the bay and I'll shoot 3 songs and I will drive home. And I did that lots of times. Right. You're
Stay hungry, man.
driving 6 hours for 15 minutes of photos.
I love that.
Deal.
Yeah.
So Incubus went well. I got some great shots from that. I shot the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That was probably the highlight
Shut up.
of that stint was um
I'm a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan.
yeah, oh my God.
Like
And
a huge, like,
I've seen them, I got to see them at the Forum when Frusciante was with them. Must have been Californication tour.
oh my God, dude.
It was
So cool.
it
You
was
went on, that's so cool.
it was great. Um
Oh
so
my God. That's awesome.
yeah, so when I shot that show, I remember being blown away by the heat of the lights.
Yeah.
The
It's so hot up there
so
and
hot.
so bright. You can't even see the audience. People don't realize that. You can't even see them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So bright up there.
Yeah. So I crushed that one. I got some really good photos. The Flaming Lips, these guys, the Flaming Lips let me shoot entire shows.
I love the
So
flaming lips.
oh,
I
so
want to
usually
get a tattoo of the robot on my arm.
oh, that would be sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yoshimi? Is that
Yep.
Yoshimi?
I want to get the Yoshimi robot on my arm.
That'd be sick. Yeah,
That's cool.
I hit them up and they're like, usually it's 3 songs.
Yeah.
And that can either be 9 minutes, 6 minutes, 12 minutes. It depends what they want.
Right.
And they just let me shoot 3 hours. So I was literally like just down there in the pit forever because everyone else got kicked out, but no one kicked me out. And I just kept shooting. And then finally someone like came over and said like, you got to go. I was like, oh, no, 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 no. It's cool. I'm with the band.
I'm with the band. A classic line.
And like, it was like a security guard or something. And I'm like, no, I'm supposed to be here.
Yep.
Like,
That works.
Okay. It
Yep.
totally works. Yeah.
That works.
And it worked multiple other shows with them too. I just like, until my camera was full, I would just keep shooting and shooting.
That's so cool.
So, and through that, I just have a cool time capsule of music for myself. And also like the mantra this whole time. I remember driving down Wilshire Boulevard in LA when it like really resonated. My mantra was, someday these photos will be able to be seen in full color digital 3D, word for word. And that would keep going through my brain because at the time it was 3D glasses.
Yep.
And it takes a lot away from a photo when you have to like make it for that. You lose
Totally.
color, you lose a lot. but I just knew, I'm like, okay, I'm making something, and like the tech hardware nerds are going to figure it out because that's what they do. And I knew that someday with VR, this would be a possibility. You put the headset on and you would be in the front row. And when that happened, when I got my 3D photos onto an Oculus and I put it on, um, I'm not like a major crier. I know how to cry. Um, I was weeping like a little baby. It was like the full cycle of it all, and it worked. Like and like I had to shoot the photos correctly too for it to work on the VR. And I did it. Like I shot them correctly. They worked. And I felt like I was on the front row watching these moments. Right. And as a photographer, it's like, why don't you just, everyone asks me, like, why aren't you shooting video?
Yeah.
Why aren't you doing video? And there's plenty of technical reasons why I didn't. But also the art side of it was going to all the shows over years. You learn, or you have intuition of when things are going to happen, and you can kind of like put that in your mind, and you wait for that time where he's about to hit that chord, power chord, or jump in the air or do the thing. And that was my mantra. Like, I don't want to get him running around for 2.5 minutes. I want to get him holding his hand in the sky, fucking screaming or whatever, right? And now I have this like beautiful catalog, and it's just another part of my archive that you know will come out someday, and it's just this beautiful side story of my journey.
I feel like there's so much conviction and patience because you're shooting all these images and you have no clue whether or not, I mean, you believe it, but you're not for sure. There's no guarantee of anything, right? So it's like that's a lot of conviction to just keep up with an art form and not know for sure whether or not it would ever be displayed correctly. Um, you said like there was like, just like tears when you first saw it in VR. I mean, that must have kind of like, I kind of want to go in deeper on that. Like that must have been just like life shattering, changing because you've put, so 2007 VR headset, what, like 2019 maybe?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So we've got 12, 13 years without really knowing whether or not this is going to be able to be displayed correctly. You see it for the first time. Did you have it like directly like on the Oculus software? Like, did they put it into their system, or did you upload it to the Oculus to see it?
yeah. There's one app that's for looking at 3D photos. It's called
Okay,
it's called Pegasus. It's probably the worst branding I've ever heard in my life. But there's
that's
one thing.
really bad.
It's very, very bad. And
Yeah,
but hey, those guys knew what they were doing, and I could load in my left and right picture, and boom, it worked. And it was it really was like such a fulfillment of the dream, right?
yeah,
And to this day, if I still have, this the one really great thing actually with technology is a lot of my photos that were like slightly out of focus or not matching the sharpness,
AI can fix it.
I can fix, right? So
So cool.
in 2009, that 3 out of 10, right? I could probably bump that up to 5 at least. There's
Amazing.
so I still have to go back through because I'd color coded the ones that worked, you know, 12 years ago. So I know
Yep.
now when I go in, there's a filtering system, but now it's fresh eyes where it's like, oh my God. It's like, so you have a left folder and a right folder, and you pick one as your master, right? And you go down the right one looking for good shots. And then as soon as you find the good one, you got to go to your left folder and pray that it was shot correctly. Right. And that's where it all falls apart. So now I have to go all the way back through, and it's happened. I go back through. It's like, holy shit. Like, I thought I had 4 good shots from that, but I have like 10.
Yeah.
So, um, God, now you're getting me all amped on this shit. I haven't thought about these in a while, but
No, I
Um,
feel the same way. I started around when you started. So in 2008, I quit my job and just basically picked up a camera and just started chasing photography. And so like I have all this old work from like, 2010, 11 that it was just shit, man. I wasn't a good photographer. I didn't understand aperture. I just picked up a camera. I didn't take any classes. I'm just learning as I go. So it's
yeah,
like a lot of these, yeah, like early portfolio that I would travel to Hawaii or whatever, they wouldn't work. Now with AI, I go back through these old portfolio and I'm like, bro, these were good. Like
yeah,
you killed it, man. You just didn't understand the technicalities of your camera.
yep.
It's like this was good shit. So it's like you can actually go back, fix all this old stuff, bring it back, which is just absolutely amazing. And I feel like for 3D stuff, like where is the technology heading? Like where is it now and where is it going, do you think?
Well, it's always. I mean, now that they've kind of cracked the code with the VR headsets, and that's gonna be a thing. It's just
Yeah.
getting hardware prices down, right? So there, it's funny because there's people who make 3D content all the time. Like there's plenty of. I mean, most movies they make now they just auto convert into 3D. So like the ability to make 3D is way easier than it was back in the day.
Hmm.
So I think I don't think as time progresses, stereo will be more of a normality than it is now.
Hmm.
I own a 3D television. No one owns a 3D television, but like,
I do.
do you?
I have a 3D television literally on this wall that I have 3D glasses for, but they don't make 3D movies anymore.
Oh shit! Well, I'll send you some 3D concert photos. You can look at them.
Oh my God, that'd be so, yeah, I have a
Yeah, that's
3D
all.
TV, a Sony from like 2000, probably like 12 or something.
Dude, I got the Sony also. Yeah, this is sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
got the Sony glasses. Everything is just, yeah, they just, it's a great TV. It's just they don't make any Blu-rays in 3D anymore. Cause like I used to watch The Lion King 3D with my daughter. That was why we bought it. She's like, we saw The Lion King 3D. I'm like, we got to get a 3D
yep.
TV. There's no content anymore. So yeah, that's amazing that, you have that. But like, do you think there's more coming? Because 3D Blu-rays are dead. Can't see 3D on Netflix. Where are we headed with that?
It's gonna be in handheld devices. I mean, there's already um
Like the Meta glasses?
meta glasses would kind of work. That's like augmented reality.
Right.
You could do that. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
anything that has. I don't know if meta would definitely like you need screens for like VR is easy because it's two views happening.
Right.
AR it can work, but it's not like perfect. Um, but like handheld devices, tablets, phones, they're built and they've worked. I have 3D tablets that are 10 years old.
Well, I
Up.
was gonna say, do you remember the 3D Evo?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I had it. So Verizon was sponsoring me at the time,
Okay,
and they sent me one of those 3D Evos where you could
yeah,
take 3D photos and you could, like the screen was 3D. That was incredible technology, and it fucking died.
yeah.
Just nobody, and I loved it. Like taking it was so much fun. You had a 3D screen on the actual phone, and you could take 3D photos.
I have um I have one here.
I have one somewhere, like in my pile of devices.
So this shrimp dough?
Shrimp dough. I don't think so. Oh wait, yeah, shrimp dough. Of course, yeah, yeah.
Shrimp.
The schminks.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
was in Austin and we both pulled out our 3D point and shoot cameras at the same time. He's
yeah.
a major 3D nerd.
Fucking
Um,
nerds.
yeah. So like this is a point and shoot 3D camera and it has
That's
a
so cool.
3D screen on the back.
I
Um,
didn't even know they make those anymore, man.
yeah, they don't. This
Okay,
thing's probably 10 years old.
you got to find
Hard,
one.
hard to find. Uh,
Yeah.
but 3D nerds will press on.
Yes, we
And
will.
um, it's gonna be tablets and handhelds. Um, and I'm always testing them, and they're definitely getting better and better. Like with AI and everything, it's getting pretty nuts. It's just a matter of consumer demand and content, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
but there's some crazy shit that's happening. So I've been re-looking at all these works with new hardware and um, I was talking with a company in China a couple days ago. These things are all extremely expensive, but they have 3D monitors and things like that that are out there for gaming. A lot some gamers, well, you can like auto convert your video games into 3D. Looks very
That's
sick.
crazy.
Um,
That's
it,
cool. I
it's
can
gonna
imagine
happen.
like it's like
Yeah.
Sim City or something in 3D.
Oh yeah. Don't get me
Oh,
started
it's
on City.
bro, I love Sim City so much.
Yeah, I spent at least 1 or 2 full summers just building Sim Cities, Roller Coaster Tycoon. Um,
Theme park.
think yeah, all of it. Give it to me.
Dude,
I and later on, like my parents were like, yeah, kind of worried about me at the time, like spending all this
same.
time. And years later, I told my parents, I'm like, you know, you guys, all that time that I was building these Sim Cities, I was not only learning how to balance budgets and run a city, super cool,
Yep.
uh, but also I was learning about early metaverse and learning about economies, digital,
Yes.
right? And I don't know if they really got it, but I was kind of like, those weren't wasted summers. Those were actually really good time spent summers. So
So important.
yeah, and
I
even
remember how much shit I would get for that.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And my son, when he was early on to like gaming, we didn't want him to like just get into like fucking RPG shooters, and he still doesn't do that. But like, I was like, let's do SimCity. It's like educational, like video games. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I love all that shit. Yeah. So,
Bro, I grew up on like Dino Park, Theme Park, Sim City 2000, which is like I feel like the pink Cadillac of all games.
yep. I went to the
Yeah, that taught you.
SimCity 4 when my son got into it, and like I had to not play that. It brought me back into this like, you know,
It's addictive.
world of spending too much time on things that didn't really matter. I was like, okay, this is very fun, but I have shit that I need to do now. I can't.
I still play Sim City today. I will admit it.
2000?
I'll play 2000, but now they have something called Skylines.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Bro, if you ever download Skylines, you might want to just cut yourself off from everything for about a week because it's like SimCity on steroids. It's everything we dreamed SimCity would have been.
Wow. Okay.
It's so much fun, man. Like it's all about controlling traffic and controlling the economy and just budgeting everything out. It's just everything that we learned as little kids. And I totally feel like completely transferred into understanding crypto. And it's funny that you said early the reason like I was started getting into crypto is because I wanted to understand money. And it's like that's actually what led me to crypto was listening to podcasts about money because I wanted to understand where money came from because I could not wrap my head around it. And I was like, I've asked so many people, nobody really seems to understand the Federal Reserve, where money comes from. So I was like, I need to learn this shit. And once I did, then I found crypto and I was like, well, this is obviously the only answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you put in the
It's game.
time, you put it, it's just like our life builds up to these aha moments that they're built in with this knowledge that we've gained over past experiences. And I think it's just beautiful. Like that's why we're alive. Like otherwise we would just be AI. Like we wouldn't have
Yeah.
any, soul or reason to be moving on. Um
What's your thoughts on AI involved in art now and basically everyone stealing all of our work.
yeah.
What do you feel about that?
Um I mean from a creator standpoint, it's allowing me to do some really cool things.
Yeah.
I'm to prompt ideas that would never have been possible. For that reason, it's revolutionary. And we're seeing it everywhere already with people creating stuff like, mini games and whatever the hell we want to make is at our fingertips.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Um, I think it's also good that people can flex creativity in general. A lot of people just say I'm not an artist, which I freaking hate hearing that saying. And I always stop people and I say, that is not true. You are creative at something, so shut up. Um,
You're good at something.
Yeah, it's art. Just give yourself a break. Um, I think it's good for people to whatever art is art. I don't give a shit. Like if you make something and you're proud of it, and using AI for that fills that need and gets you there, awesome, great. But yeah, it does fill up with a bunch of stuff. So um, I think it takes a discerning eye more than ever to, if I put my collector hat on, um, you have to, like, personally, I look for different things than just like a a cool bouncing ball or, with some just I'm always looking for some depth or something in it. So, um, maybe that AI picture hits it, and I bought some AI pictures that do, and I think they're awesome. But, I think as collecting goes on, especially in this space, um, having that, personal discernment for what you wanna support and collect is, um, it's different than it used to be, you know? And I think AI in general can be great for some stuff and awful for other stuff. I'm hearing about something about, like, someone said it takes 12 ounces of water every prompt for ChatGPT or some stat. I was like, wow, that's a lot of water. Um,
It's a
so if
lot of
you
water.
if you look into, like, the computation resource side, there's definitely, something we're giving up for all that, but,
Hmm.
it's not gonna go away. I'm actually working
No,
on a
I,
uh, I'm working on a series right now that's actually very undercover, but it's looking at tech and like, the people who are doing it to us. So it's been fun to use the tools they're making to kind of, like, highlight them and, like, expose them a little bit.
yeah, that'll be interesting. What What are your thoughts on how AI should be um what's the word? Disclosed when an artist is putting it out there. So, like, for example, when we went from film to digital, nobody really disclosed this is a digital print. Like, at first they did, but now we don't really say this is a digital, camera this was taken on. In fact, half the time people don't even disclose, what they took it on. And then when Photoshop started becoming more prevalent, there was an whole argument about, well, you need to disclose whether or not you've used Photoshop on your image. And now it doesn't even seem to be talked about. Images are edited, not edited, whatever. Nobody's going to say, like, yeah, I Photoshopped, and did this with the highlights and this with the shadows. It's not common knowledge. And now we're at that pivot where we're moving into AI and art is moving into AI, and people, we've seen it within the auctions, within art, establishments where if you don't disclose it, you're a disgrace. You're going to get kicked out. And I remember this argument from film to digital, from regular darkrooms to Photoshop. Do you think there's going to be a point where we're not even going to say this has been AI manipulated, or this photo has been touched up with AI, or even this is AI? Do we think it'll just be art?
Well, I mean, I think again that comes down to, why artists still have jobs in the AI world. You see all these lists of careers that are going away, and one of the things was artists, and it's just like AI can create any image or video or anything on command. Find a new career, you artists, and that obviously is very short sighted. I think the we will be wanting to talk about our process more because that's what makes us human, right? Like, my intent
Hmm.
was X, Y, and Z, and I used X, Y, and Z tools. And these are the things that make me human because I went through these experiences to make this end product. And if you don't, it's going to be more so question marks, right? Of like, why and where did this come about? And I think, um, the human art revolution is gonna reemerge, where, we when everything has been created by robots and AI, and the world is churning in this way. There's only a few things left, and that's like the creative mind. And as artists, we can distill that into a image or a photo. We can take our experiences and make something of it. And I think it's probably one of the safest ways to create is to make art, and to say, like, like I was taking photographs for this collage project I'm doing right now, and it's like, why am I'm taking pictures of cardboard boxes right now. I'm like, why am I doing that? Like, I caught myself, what am I even fucking doing right now? Um, but it's because me as a human saw a correlation between that cardboard box and the finished product, and
Right.
AI can't do that. So, um, I'm gonna say I think we're okay. We're okay. We just
Yeah,
story is
I
the
think we're
most.
safe.
What's that?
No, I think we're completely safe in the sense like I've actually talked about this with a couple of people on the podcast where it's like I always believe like people will still collect vinyl records.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
people will still want an authentic photograph that was taken by a photographer as opposed to a prompt. Like there will be, I don't think it's like black or white, like there will be the middle where people, and it might even be more valuable because nobody wants to do that shit anymore because they can just sit at their desk and make it.
yeah.
So I look at it and I just wonder like in the future, um, will like people have to say like, they enter an art contest. Well, you have to, I know, like you said, like, we'll have to like talk more about our process and you think it'll be more prevalent. Do you think that's like maybe why the blockchain is here? Is so we can kind of establish that provenance and kind of like show the intent of why the image was, why the image was taken, how it was taken. Like, do you think that will be kind of like a major part of how art is distributed?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you can start adding stories and metadata onto the
Yeah.
piece, where you can get into that, and that is stored on the blockchain. Because I mean, I guess even if the image link goes away, you can talk about your art, right? And I think
Right.
having that story in there, um, is going to be extremely important in the future. Because right now we're still living on this like Web 2 AWS server storage thing
Hmm.
where, yeah, it's on Twitter. Like, go check my tweets. Well, Twitter or what, X, whatever. X ain't going to be around in 100 years, right? I mean, or
Right.
whatever. It's going to morph. At least with the
Right.
blockchain, there's the date, there's the provenance, the metadata, that stuff, is in, even since I started minting, like, I'm seeing the importance and value of that, like, way, way, way more.
Yeah, I feel like the provenance is probably one of the most important aspects of what we're doing here. When you were doing your first like projects, did you kind of see that that was the benefit of blockchain? Like, what did you see that that it provided? Not only I know, like you said, it kind of give you like a wider audience, but was there anything else to the aspects of blockchain that kind of like got you onboarded that we could say to, like future artists, like this is what brought us here?
I mean, besides the permanence and being open 24/7 worldwide,
Yeah.
um, a lot of it, especially when I got started, was the push for royalties, and having artists be able to benefit from their own success. That had never been part of the art game. And when that happened, and there was a like a social contract, between the artist and the collector, that you buy something and you sell it, and hopefully you sell it for more, since these are investments. You do well, artist gets to do well. That's like the way it should work, in my opinion. And that's why a lot of people came in, because you know we don't often have like retirement funds and pensions and ways to get old.
We don't.
We don't.
We don't.
We don't. Well, I don't.
I
Like,
know. I don't either.
yeah. So it's like when that came around, it's like, oh my God. So in the future, I always joke around that great grandpa Coldie is going to be able to buy bread for his great great grandchildren, and they're not going to even know who I am, but they're going to say, "Wow, thanks, dude! Like you're providing for us." And that is such a beautiful arc for art and creativity to pay it forward generationally. That
Mhm.
I, we could go down this rabbit hole forever. I see it in many different ways. Like if you're underwater 90%, yeah, it sucks to give another 10% to the artist. Like I get that. But I think
Right.
altruistically having that be a cycle that perpetuates for us and for the artists that come after us is probably the most important thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of us onboarded into NFTs with the idea that we were going to gain some type of passive income through royalties. That was like a big promise because we had never really seen that before of, this guarantee of royalties. And we really broke this down and talked a lot about how the benefits of royalties could really change an artist's life. But now, 5 years later, we've seen what's happened. And for anyone who isn't, in the Web3 space, royalties were essentially a percentage of the sale that would go to the artist. And so over the last 5 years, there's been a lot of platforms that have come on that have basically shown that there's royalties weren't necessary, that they took the royalties away and people started trading NFTs like they trade currencies, like they trade crypto, stocks, anything else, and weren't paying basically any royalties to artists. Um, OpenSea was one of the ones who took away, royalties because of Blur. There were so many reasons, but it wasn't really necessarily the platform's fault as much as it was this is what the people wanted. This is the traders who wanted this to happen. Where do you think that, I don't want to say that like we were lied to because I don't think really the platforms had a choice. I mean, I guess they did, but at the same time, they would have gone out of business. There was no possibility of them surviving unless they gave in.
Yeah.
So, I want to know, like, what are your thoughts? Like, we were onboarded with the idea that royalties could kind of change everything. I don't know if that's a possibility anymore, and I don't know if that's going to be a guarantee.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is also the the collectors that are in the space right now, especially ones who were around when royalties were the norm. It's that social contract where it might not be built into the smart contract, but there's an
Mhm.
understanding. And I think keeping that conversation going, especially when, let's say, a collector brings on a new collector, right? And they start having these conversations, there's a little bit more background of like, not just peel off 10% for this artist, like this, this is the reason for the revolution that we're building. And, you know, carrying that forward is like the stand up move, right? You don't have to do it, but a lot of my collectors I've had since 2018. So, we've gotten to know each other. Like we're just friends. Like we'll talk about family, we'll
Yeah,
talk about all kinds of stuff, not like, hey, I got a new drop, you want to buy it? And
right.
that to me is also, it becomes more personal, because we get to know each other and they get to understand like if they do honor that royalty, that 10% is going to make a difference in my life. It's going to help me make more art. It's going to help keep the ship afloat, and I think that they like that too. If especially if they're making, if you flip something for a big gain, why first of all, why did it sell for a big gain? Well, it sold for a big gain because that piece you bought was created by somebody who continued to produce exceptional works, and that drives secondary demand. So that's why it went up. Like nobody made one thing, sat on it for 10 years, and then that one thing all of a sudden becomes worth $1 million. Like that's just not the way anything works.
Yeah.
So
Right.
If they understand that the reason this thing sold for a bunch was because the artist was busting their ass for that 10 years to keep producing stuff that was all at that level. Yeah, I think that's a fair shake, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't disagree. I don't disagree with that. When you onboarded like in 2017, what was it like? Like, what were the vibes like? What was the conversation like? Was it on X or I guess Twitter back then? Yeah, what was it like back then?
There was there there was no conversation. there, there was literally nothing. Like
Did
I
you?
didn't even like so when I was on Rare Art Labs, it was there's definitely some OGs, but none of us knew each other. Like there was Xcopy and Hackatow, Skrilla, Miss Al Simpson. There's a lot of people, and I won't make a list because I'll miss people. But we were Osinachi was another one who was like in there. Um, but we didn't
Were you
know
guys
each.
in like a group chat or anything? Or
No, there was nothing. I didn't even have any idea who these people were, or besides scrolling the site, seeing their gallery, I had zero clue about any of these people.
okay, just
Um,
crypto artists.
yeah, we were all just on a website. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think it wasn't until Super Rare came around, which was it was only like 6 or 9 months after Rare Art Labs, but there was like this gap of time where I don't know, I was in a vacuum. Um, and then once Super Rare came around, um, I got back onto Twitter. You know, I was never using Twitter. Um, and that's where we just started, you know, the Super Rare feed, it would go into the Twitter space. So then you start understanding that, oh, this is where a bunch of us are now hanging out at. And then you meet people. But in the early times, I had zero contact or knowledge of any of these people.
And then when your art got collected, what was that like? Like that must have been an experience for you to get your art picked up in this new crypto space. Like, what was that like?
Yeah,
I
it
know I'm
was
going down like this. What was that like so many times? But it's just like
no,
fascinating. You were so early
yeah.
on.
It's fun to look back because it's like so opposite of like it literally feels like a different lifetime. And
I
you know,
bet. I mean, the things have changed so much. I feel like
oh yeah, yeah. Not, there you
you
couldn't
went from
say like
horse and carriage to the Ferrari.
oh yeah, yeah, and then back to the horse and carriage a couple times. Uh, um, but you know, the real hard thing with all of us is pricing your art, right? And
Okay.
especially a digital art asset, there is no market value or anything for that. So I was just making it the people's price. You know, like it was some things were $25, some things were $50. I was playing with like edition sizes, so I'd have an edition of 50. Those are $20 each. I don't know. Edition of 10, we'll kind of quantify that up. Edition of 10, $100. You know, making things up.
Right.
And
It's experimenting.
it's, yeah, just trying to figure out what the market is. And when I got into super rare, um, you know, just classic business. You start things low, sell a couple things at that price and ratchet up a little bit. You know, if there's demand and price goes up a little bit. Um, the really crazy thing back with early super rare was there's no auctions. So people would place bids, but it was just up to us to decide when to end it and like who wins this thing, right?
Oh my God.
And if there's one bid and it sits for a month, easy to say that you win it, right? There's no one else wants it. It's been sitting for a while. Congratulations, click a button.
Right.
Then when you have back in the early days, bidding wars were like the creme de la creme. It was the most fun thing ever where, you know, your reserve would be, there was no reserves. It was just bid placed, right? So you would start getting a couple people coming in on a piece. And very quickly I was like, I'm not about to start playing favorites or, you know, how do I navigate this space? So I just made up I called it the Coldie method. And what I did was I'd go on Twitter and I'd say, hey, new piece, reserve price, 1 ether. And that's like $150. 1 ether.
Okay.
And, place your bids, and whatever bid stands for a full 24 hours wins the piece. That way I'm out of the equation of who's going to win. You guys can duke it out and figure out who wants it. I'll press the button after the clock is done. And I
So
had to
you
do,
started the timed auction.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And,
That's
um,
cool.
yeah, it was a cool spin because it was like a full day's worth because, I'm thinking about this, like we have lives, we have families, we got kids, we got work. I want you to be able to have a day just to, within that 24 hours, think about this thing. If you still want to be a part of it, place a bid if you want. So you have plenty of time, but you got to want it. And um, it worked out well, because people got to figure it out themselves. I wasn't playing favorites, and these collectors are worldwide. So I was learning the games that they play.
Hmm.
Before I was doing the Coldie method, so I would get a bid at, let's see, what would be a good time? 11 o'clock Pacific time. Okay.
Okay.
I get a nice bid. Wow. Like whatever, it doesn't matter. Like a wow bid. You're like, holy shit, that's cool. But then I start thinking about, wait, the guy on the East Coast, it's 2 a.m. He's asleep. Europe's asleep. So people were placing bids in time zone when other people weren't around, hoping I would say,
Oh.
oh, cool, dude. Like, I want that. Like, click yes now. But in the morning when that person woke up, they'd be like, whoa, what? Like, and it would happen. They'd be like, dude, you sold that? Like, I would have bid on it. So I very quickly was like learning the shenanigans of these guys.
Hmm.
And I had to just stop it. I'm like, if you want to play games, plenty of people that you can play games with. I'm not your guy. I'm not the guy. So here's my rules. If you would like to collect my art, these are the terms. They're very straightforward. And I lost quite literally the biggest collector in the space because of this. And I just said, okay,
Interesting.
like the biggest. I
Huh.
won't name the name, but it's not hard. If you look back, they did not like this. And we had a really, really crazy interaction because of it. And I didn't do anything shady. I was just like, I'm not playing the game. So
Right.
have a good one.
I'm here to make art. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I make art. I'm not getting into anything here. And to this day, they, won't buy anything. At one point when we had this, I'll say without saying who the person was. They placed a bid.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
they placed a good bid, and there's a bid war going on. There's probably eight bids going on, and they had the highest bid, and no one had bid more for about 8 hours. So 8 hours into
Okay.
the 24, they're winning. Okay, so it's theirs basically, unless someone else bids. They come back and place a lower bid,
Stop.
and I was like, "Oh no, 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 we don't." So I did a tweet, and I said, I was not feeling it. I was like, this was the nail. This was the nail in the coffin. I was like, "Here's- obviously this person is not a serious collector. Prove me wrong on that, because if they're doing that, it's not very serious. Obviously this person's not a very serious collector, so their bid is now null. Um, the high bid is now that person who placed the bid before them. Thank you very much." Like,
Oh my God. What a legend.
yeah, and I was like, and I had to find the person to say, because they had to rebid into super rare to get the spot back. I said, hey,
Yeah.
so and so, voided the terms of service. If you would like to place your original bid, you can now be high bidder. that set off the biggest firestorm that Super Rare had ever seen.
I
Um,
bet.
and this person wasn't active on socials, so they would change their bio in Super Rare, just talking shit about me.
Oh my God, yes.
And
That's awesome.
one of my biggest regrets in life, and if anybody listening has these screenshots, please send them to me. I didn't screenshot this shit because it was just too much. It was happening in real time. And it was like every 10 minutes, a new bio update would happen.
That's
And
so great.
oh, it was so not only did they say you're the scum of the earth, I'm not going to buy your shit anymore, they started giving my
Right.
one of ones away to people. And I would be getting these DMs. One of them was a lot of money, rest in peace. Homie writes me.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, this sick. It was a stereoscopic one of one. He's like, I don't know what happened, but this thing is now in my wallet. I was like, well, happy
Enjoy.
birthday. Redistribution. Um,
Oh my
so
God.
it was super nutty. And I don't regret I didn't do anything wrong. I just fucking stood up for myself. And yeah, I guess it lost me a collector, but I only like good vibes. I'm making art. I'm not here to, no drama. So
No, and you got to stand up for yourself, especially as an artist.
yeah, yeah, it's pure shenanigans. So um, that is definitely one for the memoir.
Dude, that's so funny. So when all these people are bidding on your stuff early on, did you just think they were fucking crazy? I mean, they're just buying these JPEGs. Like, what was your thought process on all this? Because this is crazy. Like, you just jump in and there's a new medium. People are buying your fucking JPEGs now.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I mean, I'd say like I knew the stuff I was making was interesting. Um,
Right. Did you think you were crazy?
well, I still do. I mean, I mean that's not going to go away. I got as long as I'm in this
Right.
meat suit. This is what I got. Um, I think no, I didn't think anything was crazy because I knew that this was important, that
Mhm.
what we were all doing, right? And when I came in, my I love mantras and thesis when I do things. And my thing was artists are guinea pigs. And I wanted to prove that this worked for the artists that I liked, who I thought someday would be a part of it. And those two people being Shepard Fairey and Banksy. I love street art. And I was like, man, just wait until like Shepard Fairey gets a hold of this, or Banksy comes in, and we've had Damien Hirst. Like the people have come in, and it was always like, we need to test this thing out and we need to prove it over a long time frame, because they're on a different level, right? They have business
Mhm.
managers and they need to prove things. Let's do that
They're
for,
legacy artists.
yeah, the legacy
Yeah.
guy. Let's prove it for them through our art, so that they can then say, I want to make the jump, right? And so a lot of these things were just experiments, trying different auction methods, going to the metaverse, running, I did a charity auction in the metaverse, like just
What
doing
metaverse was around then?
that. The one I was always in is crypto voxels.
Okay, yeah, I remember them. Yep.
Yep. Um, and I just went in there like a month ago. It's awesome. I love it. I freaking love crypto voxels. Um, and it was just always experimenting, and we're doing a lot of collabs back in the day, just seeing how it worked. Like, let's fuck around and make something, and then you're like, oh, that was fun. Like, there's if there's no rules now, there were way less rules then, and it was just pure joy. Like, there was no financialization, there was no, like, it was just the fun shit you did after you went to work and your kids were in bed, you know? And like, I
Yeah.
and still to this day, like, still work. It's still the same loop, right? But the game
Right.
is just totally different. It's just different. I long for those
There was
days.
there was no conversation, as you said back then, but how did you know that that you guys were doing something so important? Because if you didn't see these collectors as crazy and you didn't see yourself as just, I mean, you obviously saw yourself as crazy, but you didn't see this as just completely backwards. How did you see this as like the next big thing, or not the next big thing, but like, how did you see this doing something important?
You know,
'Cause
I
there's no
think
conversation.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was like echo chamber for a long time, but the way I was producing art was kind of in a scrapbook timeline method where I was doing the decentralized portrait series. So I was looking around me and the scenes that were happening and the people who were doing important things or the people who were talking shit, like Warren Buffett. He was anti-crypto, but he was so
Yep.
anti-crypto that he became important to the series. So I was like, everything I do is has a through line to it. So the portrait series and some of the other landscapes I would do, it was a time and a place, and that helped me want to kind of make sure that that lived on with the blockchain, and then time takes it on from there. Like the piece, the day we've all been waiting for, like this piece, it's got like, now it's like some kind of cliche things, right? Like you got Hoddle, you got
Hmm.
the moon and the astronaut, and a lot of that stuff was because I was doing UFO things, right? They just happened to be in my vernacular, but it was also like early memetics with art. I mean, obviously Pepe's had been doing it, but it was like, how can we play with visual themes in a way that we could look at this and be like, oh man, I remember those days. Like I remember, you know, when everything didn't just have a Bitcoin logo. Like back in the day, the crypto art was like a piece of art, and in the background they'd paint a Bitcoin logo. And that was crypto art. But I looked at that, I'm like, that doesn't resonate. I don't feel the total connection between this portrait of a person and they're like holding Bitcoin. Like it just didn't connect. So I was always trying to push the narrative to be a little bit deeper of context, and maybe you put in the price. Like I did a piece where it's like the current price of Bitcoin is X amount on this date. So when you look
Hmm.
back, you can be like, oh man, like this thing was made when Bitcoin was $3,000, you know? So I think
Right.
personally that helped me kind of like stay focused and see the future of it. Cause it's like, if this all burns up and goes away, whatever, like I'll make some other type of art. Like the art will continue. Um, but if it does stick around, then these are cultural artifacts of early crypto art, and it's either A or B. It either goes to zero or it becomes something that people look back on.
Yeah, I think like when you look at like the early blockchain art, like I think it will like age kind of like a fine wine. Like I think we look back on some of this early stuff, like the first photography, the first, like there will be a lot of these were the first. And I think we saw it actually kind of play out with the whole meme coin phase that we had on Solana, where everyone kind of like chased the lore or chased like these early narratives, like this was first, this was first. And I think that's going to play out. It plays out with collectibles. And I think that's kind of what NFTs did for art was they really, especially photography, was they kind of like turned them into collectibles.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. They
Did you
absolutely.
see that happening early on?
Um. Yeah. I mean, I think it took a while. I mean, I'm thinking like when it was clear sailing, and then when things started to get muddy. Um.
Yeah.
From 18 to 20, it was just normal, just one of ones, and people were just buying things and being happy. Um, I think in 20, the huge 2021 cycle when everything just became super commoditized and um the art was almost secondary to a flip, like, oh
Hmm.
shit, I can buy this thing for $1,000, and 3 weeks later the floor's $10,000. The art didn't change, but the sentiment started happening, and then you start learning about people pumping projects, and as soon as that stuff all
Yep.
started happening, um it just makes you think about why you're doing something, and
Yeah, it's a lot of noise.
a lot of noise, and just personally it's like, what am I adding to this situation? Like, what can I do to stay true to myself, not get caught up in some games, right? Because
Hmm.
you know you get hit up by people offering you such and such for so and so, and I shut all that shit down. I'm like, I am not that guy. Like, you know,
I'm an artist.
yeah, you can go play games, but I like to sleep at night. I don't like to be beholden to some scam. So I think when all that started happening, it just I think we lost a lot of momentum in terms of like art for art's sake, and it became like uh art for flipping sake. And
Hmm.
some people got caught in the middle of it and are holding things that they probably hope they flipped. But I also think that that could be a blessing in disguise for people who bought something that they like got stuck with, but they might have gotten lucky and gotten a cultural artifact. Like, I think it's just going to
Yeah.
take a lot of time.
Your project has evolved in very interesting ways. What kind of made you adapt to these different ideas that you were able to navigate the space? Was it the market? Was it your art form?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I guess, a little bit of both, but I would say more so like my art form. I'm just always like, I get very bored very fast with things. And
Oh, yeah.
when I look at like, even like, the initial portraits I was making, it got to be like a format. And like, I knew what I needed to do to create that portrait and release it, and the demand. It was like kind of a template in a sense,
Hmm.
like, and that didn't feel like great, so I think it's always like trying to push myself and learn more, but also like, just for like, most of the stuff is just for my own amusement, like, so we were talking about the Viewmaster. This is an unreleased thing. Are you going to Marfa?
I want to, man. I've got 4 dogs, and it is hard to travel with them.
So I'm going to Marfa. I'm gonna show these off. I did my own Viewmasters, just
No
because
way.
yeah, I said Viewmaster using AI images of time traveling gold
Can you
mining.
please save one for me?
Oh yeah,
Please.
yeah, yeah,
Dude, thank you.
yeah. So
That's
it's
so cool.
it's it's just like, I'll get an idea in my head and I'll just be like, man, I'm just gonna fucking make that. Like, I'm doing magnetic, movable portraits now, physical portraits that you can move, just because I wanted to find a way to kind of speak back to the digital stuff that I'm doing. How can I make that physical and interactive? So I figured out movable magnet portraits, just purely for my own amusement, but then also like, it's fun to share with people and have them like have a reaction to it. So it's just, I would say it's probably my own amusement, to be quite honest with you.
You choose very niche, unique stuff, though. Like, was this possibly like your parents, your upbringing? Like, what made you want to always pick just? I know
Uh,
it's like obviously like doing something unique, but what is it? There's something in it.
it's a good question. I mean, my family background isn't extremely like creative. My mom's a wonderful photographer and quilting. She's very creative. So hats off to my mom, 100%. But
Shout out to Coldie's mom.
oh yeah, she's great. She's great. Um, it's just my own searching. I think I was just always it's back to like Sim Cities and messing around. And, like I used to go to the computer store and buy RAM sticks to increase the RAM in my computer. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I took a calculated risk and, that sped up my computer. So I was like, cool, or
Yeah.
whatever the weird thing was. I think everything I do leads. If I were to line up everything in a row, I
Mhm.
think it would make more sense because everything that I do is a reaction to most likely something that I've either thought about or experienced in the past and wanted to try something new with it. So it's just
Okay.
it's just iteration, and sometimes it seems disparate, but whether it's the 3D photos, whether it's you know the portraits I'm working on now, or the filthy fiat money project, it's just like I
Yeah.
can't explain. If you looked at them all on a table, you're like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, it's just this.
That's
The
yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm like, it's all on a table. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and I can't. I'll. But if I walked you down each rabbit hole, you'd be like, holy shit. Okay,
Right.
like it's there, but there's so many different avenues of interest that take over my head at different times. I don't even know. It's like, and I look around my studio right now and there's piles of things, right? Like, um,
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, like, for example, like I can relate like a one instance of like when I was like 5 or 6. Like, so I remember building like a laptop out of a notebook, like taking a laptop apart and like putting it in a 3-ring binder so I could take
wow,
it to school and play theme park every day, you know?
nice,
Like, and that was like third grade. Like, yeah,
cool.
it was a Toshiba, like 33 megahertz laptop, took it all apart, put it in this 3-ring binder. And I'm like, I'm going to play theme park at school. But I remember like, I remember everything relating up to these type of moments was the first time I sat down at a computer. My dad was an ex Navy SEAL. My dad adopted me, and he was an ex Navy SEAL, and he had all these Navy SEAL friends, and one of them was like a computer just hacker genius, and he sits me down in front of DOS when I
Mm,
was like 6 years old, and just shows me command prompts and shows
yeah,
me how to open DOS shell, yeah, and just a few simple commands, and I remember thinking, this is how I can control my world.
yep.
This is this is my ecosystem. This is now my world, and I have full control of it. I can do whatever I want in this landscape. And I remember that being the instance that set my brain off to loving technology, to even when I found a camera the first time and it being cohesive with art and being like, well, this is a technical piece for me, but I can use it for art. And I wasn't even creative or even an artist, had never really even been to museums. It just wasn't in the cards for me. So the technical background led me to that camera. Was there an instance that you can remember that kind of led you into this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah, it's funny you bring that up. Like my grandpa was aerospace engineer. Both my grandpas were. So
Cool.
they're very, very engineering family. Um, which I think those bloodlines had like, it wasn't in my face, but it was a lot of like, my grandpa always had um he was a techie guy, like in the 80s, right? So he had the big cameras with the battery packs, and he had an
You come from
Apple.
a family of nerds.
It actually runs. The more I think about it, like it's my grandfather's. Like, yeah, they were on one. So, um, I remember my grandpa had one of the first Mac, like the tan Macintosh cubes with the 3.5 floppy disk. And I have actually
Hmm.
my mom. Shout out again to my mom. She has a photo of me at the computer with my grandpa when I was like 4, and I didn't know anything else to do on a computer, so he opened up Microsoft Paint, or not Microsoft, Apple Paint, and um, I'll never forget. I hated drawing on white background, so every time I opened that, I had to go to the Dropbox and fill it with bricks. There had to be bricks. If there wasn't bricks, I
Graffiti.
wasn't touching it. So once there was bricks, I could do my graffiti, right? And Um, it's actually when my grandparents passed away and we were going through the stuff, I found like one of my old dot matrix printed out sheets. I was like, holy shit. Like
No
Dennis,
way.
this piece. Um, it was just things like that. It was like just, you know, just like you're given these early opportunities. And I love what you said about controlling your world, because I think that'd be a good topic for my therapist. Is
It was for mine.
Yeah, that sounds like a great thing to dive into, because like I do feel like the master of my domain in here. Um, and I guess if I'm not scaring myself with art, I'm not going anywhere. And that's what I've always come back to over the years. Like if I'm not running into issues or needing to problem solve or figure something out, or something seems like daunting to me, that's where I work the best. When things are like we were talking about, like I've done this thing 20 times, I'm going to keep doing it. That's not it anymore. And sometimes it's just a little crank of the wheel, like this new portrait series I'm doing now. It's a subtle but very dynamic shift of what I've been doing, gets me energized. And that is, again, it gets me like, I can't wait to get to my machine and work on this thing. Because when it's not that, shouldn't be doing it. It's not serving me.
If that's not the quote of the podcast, that is beautiful. That's so well put. And I think so many artists within this space can resonate with that, because yeah, I've only done like 9 of these, but every single person that I've talked to so far is, if I'm not creating, it's death.
Yeah.
There's no life without creation. And if there wasn't anyone left on this planet, I'd still be doing what I'm doing.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
That
In my
that's a
bug out
common thing.
in my bug out bag, like if I need to run, I have a pair of 3D glasses in there. So literally, because I'm like, well, and I have actually I have a it's not my backpack if my house is burning down, but if there's somewhere I can get to, I have a 3D camera that has some film in it. So I will document.
No kidding.
Yes, I will document that as well.
That's amazing. Did you growing up always have a camera with you, or did that just start with the stereo basement?
Um, my mom always had a camera, so I was kind of like proxy through her. Um,
Okay.
I took some photography classes in high school with the dark room, loved all that. Um, but it wasn't ever like, I always knew that I don't draw. Like I suck at perspective drawing and all that stuff. Like my brain doesn't like that. And I was always like kind of like sarcastic to like my life drawing teachers or anything. I'd be like, why do I have to paint this cornucopia when I can take a photograph of it? That's what I like. If I have a photo, then I can do all kinds of shit with it. Like, why am I spending my time drawing it? They did not appreciate that. I think they understood.
That's funny. One last question before I let you go. Dude, I appreciate all your time that you spent with me.
This has
I've
been great.
learned so much about you.
For being 9 in, you're crushing. This is super fun. This is great.
Dude, thank you. Yeah, one last question that I want to ask you specifically is, what do you see your art form evolving into? Because, like I said, you have such a unique art form. You've done so many interesting, different types of various projects. Do you see yourself making movies? Do you see you becoming a musician? Like, what's next?
Oh man. Um,
Because I feel like you're evolving into something. I don't know if it's always going to be the 3D art realm. I feel like you do what you love, is what I'm noticing.
yeah. Well, it's kind of the same time as I was getting into 3D, I bought a bass. I started taking bass lessons. Bass
Okay.
teacher stoked. He's like, "Wow, man! Like, okay, like we got something here." I was like, "Oh, okay." But then it became the two roads, right? I had to I had to pick,
Yep.
what do I invest all of my time in? Because I don't want to be like kind of okay at two things. I want to be good at one thing. So I the ADD of the bass, I had to just push that, like maybe a different lifetime, like, because it feels very great and normal, but um I definitely see me like perpetually being like a visual artist. Um
Hmm.
I love singing karaoke, so don't, we can throw down. But
Bro, anytime.
oh
Let's
yeah?
take a trip. I'm so down for a karaoke jam.
Oh
Absolutely. I fucking love karaoke so much.
yeah, let's book flights. Well, we'll find a halfway spot. Um
Dude, down.
yeah, down.
Wait, you're in LA. It was like, dude, I'm in Vegas.
You're in Vegas? Well, I'm in Sacramento, so we can meet in Reno.
Perfect. Perfect. Gross. I love it.
um Actually, Reno's good for karaoke. Um
I bet.
yeah, I think I mean, I wrote a book about the gold rush, um pre 3D stuff. I've been wanting to
Mhm.
make that into a movie. Um I could see a movie for sure. Sculptural
Yeah.
things, getting more tactile. Um all this pixel pushing has gotten me onto like the magnetic moving portraits. Getting a lot more physical feels good. So I think kind of um going like off screen a little bit more feels good.
Do you see that as the future of NFTs is like more physical stuff attached?
I think inherently, as we go into this AI age, that's something that AI isn't as able to do at this point. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they will be, but like, I think anything that we can do to show our humanness, and that also includes imperfections on things, um, is the key to creation. Because when things are perfect, that's a red flag. I actually just created one of my magnet pieces, and it has an imperfection in it. And you don't want things to be imperfect, but also I look at
Right.
things differently where that's my human touch, is that thing right there that you're looking at. That is the value, is the imperfection, right? So it's kind of a fun way to spin something where it's like a smudge or a scratch. It's like, oh no, you want that because that's real.
You know how like you see art today, like the Mona Lisa or any other piece. You know how it's kind of like been touched up over time and it's not like the original piece. It's just yeah, it's been so many artists have made alterations to it to make it look like it's the original. What are your thoughts on that? I just like there's so many different, I believe, theories behind that. Is it the original art? Is it someone else's? What are your thoughts on that? Because I feel like that brings so much benefits to what we're doing with NFTs.
Well, I mean, if you want to really look at it with NFTs, like the token is the art. If you look at the
Hmm.
Nakamoto Pepe card, there's no image attached to that anymore. That's been broken for years. And it doesn't matter because people know what the art is that is attached to the token. And I think it makes a lot of this like way even more conceptual art than we're even giving giving it. It's like art art can change over time, like you're saying, restorations or whatever happens to something over time, that's impermanent, so it needs to be touched. But after a certain point, like like you're saying, like it's the essence of the thing that we want, not necessarily like what we're looking at. And I think for NFTs, you know one reason why I love ordinals, because it's on chain, and that's its own existential talk. I see it from all sides. But what I'll say is, on that Satoshi is that image, and that is not going away.
Hmm.
And you know, 99% of art is on IPFS. We can, like you're talking about, repin it or do what we need to
Hmm.
do to keep it alive. It's the same as putting a new lacquer and varnish on the Mona Lisa. We just have to stay on top of it so that, one day the water doesn't wash it all away, or whatever the analogy is. Like, um,
Yep.
I think uh, it's the same as like folklore. You know, folklore was used centuries ago to tell a story or a proverb of how to stay alive, or there's a reason to these stories that would get passed down over time. And we're literally just doing a digital folklore where things get remixed and they change over time. And it's no different. Like the gold miners had Americana music. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. We
Yep.
all know that song, but that's been remixed into all kinds of genres and beats. And if you trace it all back to coming around the mountain, you'd be like, holy shit, that's fucking wild. We're just in that. It's just a fractal of creation.
Dude, that's a great analogy. I've never heard that before. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, I kind of just made that up.
Yeah.
Feels good.
I like that though. No, that's a great way, dude. That's a great way to close it out. Coldie, dude, thank you for being number 10 of the episodes here. I appreciate all your time. I know we've been here for like 2 hours. Before you go, where can people find you if they don't know who you are?
Yeah, so you can find me. My website is coldie3d.com. It's not super updated, but you'll get the gist. I'm also on X at Coldie, Coldie. And I don't know, Google 3D concert photography.
Dude, there it is, bro. Thank you, Coldie. Let's do this again. I could do this for 4 hours with you, man. This has been fun.
Happy to do it again, John. This has been super fun. And congrats on your show. This is awesome to be a part of it.
Bro, thank you, man. Talk again soon.
Absolutely.